Hey, so what is going on, everyone? It is me, Mr. Mario, and okay, it is E3 season, and admittedly, I kind of considered watching last night's press conferences that were on Sunday, but I found a stream of little baby foxes, and oh my god, they were... Okay, point is, listen, I had to make an adult decision, and I chose the foxes over E3. I would link you all to it, but I went to the link today, and it seems to have changed from foxes to badgers, so I can't give you the same thing. But we're going to be doing a bit more condensed review of the press conferences this year, where I normally go over the big three, which would be Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony, and anything else, I guess, is a bonus, so be prepared for a bunch of E3 stuff. Anyways, today I ended up watching the Microsoft E3 2016 press conference. These are my thoughts, whatever the hell you want to call them, on this, and I want to address two things. First off, they did something a bit odd. They announced a console at the beginning, and they announced a console at the end. I'm going to talk about my thoughts on that just a bit, and I'll probably do an extended video later. And another thing is that they were completely in your face about it this time. They did not care about, trying to hide it or sugarcoat it. They are turning Xbox into a service. Xbox is no longer limited to a console anymore, and by that I mean out of all the games they showed that were exclusives, every single one was an exclusive to Windows 10 and Xbox One, except for one game that is going to be a timed console exclusive, but then it's going to go over to Windows 10. I'm not saying there's anything bad about that. I actually encourage that, and I think it's great, but I also think it's neat that now they're not sugarcoating it, and it's like, yeah, no, all these games are going to be coming out later on. So with the consoles themselves, I just want to bring this up, kind of my overview of it. They're releasing a Xbox One S, which everyone thought this thing was going to be the Xbox One 4K edition. It's smaller, it has a 2TB hard drive, it's going to have an IR blaster on it, an internal power supply, and it's going to output 4K, which will be used for, movies, Blu-ray, all that stuff, and of course it will upscale your games to 4K. For anybody thinking that your games will play natively in 4K, no. For anybody saying, oh, the Xbox One plays them in 1080p, no. Most games on the Xbox One do not play in 1080p. You output them at 1080p. Big difference on there. And there's also going to be a new wireless controller, and that's going to come out this year. But there's going to be another console coming out that was announced at the end of the conference, which is called the Xbox One Scorpio. And this is what people were thinking was going to be coming out now or super soon. And I don't know how I feel about this. I'm going to put this picture up on screen. This is exactly how I felt when this went up. And the reason being is that I'm not completely against it, but it's going to come out in a year and a half. This is dated to have a holiday 2017 release. And the reason why I'm really iffy about this is not because, oh, it's too powerful or it's too late or it should be the next Xbox. It's nothing like that. The issue that I'm kind of having with it is Microsoft did this already with the Xbox One. The reason why the Xbox One was able to secure many different exclusive things, so for example, they were able to get Titanfall as a Xbox exclusive type thing, they got on board with EA Access and several others, is because when the Xbox One was in development, Microsoft shipped it out and they were shopping it around to different publishers before Sony did. And all these publishers and developers said, wow, the Xbox One is insanely powerful, we've never seen anything like it. Sony, do you have anything? Sony didn't give them anything, so they said, well, you know what, the Xbox One's obviously extremely powerful, we're going to go with that. And then after all those deals went into effect, Sony announced the PS4, and the PS4 was more powerful than the base Xbox One. Plus, they're trying to do this thing where they're saying, oh yeah, no, all games will be compatible on everything. Like the Xbox One S, I could see that because to me, more or less, it looks like an Xbox One, but it outputs at 4K. That's really all it does. But the Xbox One Scorpio, that's kind of doing the 3DS, new 3DS type thing. And there's a bunch of games on the new 3DS that play like shit, to be honest, on the old 3DS, so I don't know how I feel about that. Probably later this week, once these conferences are over, I'm going to do an entire video about that and my thoughts, but let's get on to this. So, one thing when I was talking about, the whole Windows 10 cross-platform thing, is there's now something coming out called Xbox Play Anywhere, which means you can effortlessly go from your Xbox One to your Windows 10 PC. This is going to be specifically, one thing they were mentioning was co-op on Gears of War 4, and they were very specific to say that. Campaign co-op, horde co-op, that's it. And the reason why I don't think they're doing multiplayer cross-platform is because keyboard and mouse versus a controller on something like Gears of War, keyboard and mouse players are going to win. I mean, most of the time, that's going to happen. I really hope this is going to be for physical releases as well, too, because personally, I like my physical games, but they're saying if you buy an Xbox One game on one platform, you get it on Windows 10, and vice versa. They showed Gears of War 4. It looked cool. Like, it looked good. It looks kind of like Dead Space now with some of the weapons, and there's going to be a Gears 4 Elite controller. And then bleeding into that, General Rom is coming over to Killer Instinct. I don't really care about those series too much. The next thing coming up, though, I was actually pretty impressed with this, was Forza Horizon 3, which there was kangaroos everywhere, looked beautiful, and it's taking place in Australia, 4-player co-op on there, coming out later this year. I think that looks great. I've really enjoyed Forza Horizon 1 and 2, definitely want to pick this one up. Although one thing I do want to say, kind of an overarching thing, and the thing I had to think of this whole time as well too, was that this is a Microsoft conference and they're really pushing Windows 10. So all of these games I'm seeing could just be running on really, really high-end PCs, which I'm pretty sure was going on. I doubt most, if not all of these games were running on, I would highly doubt if they were running on any type of Xbox One dev kits of some kind. Next up, we saw Recore again, so, it's been a few years since we see it. It looked good to me. I definitely want to check it out. Final Fantasy 15, that's what I expected from it. I'm just going down my list right now, but Final Fantasy 15, it looked cool, it looked good, it looks like a slower, more mature version of Kingdom Hearts. That's what I expected. I don't know how well it's going to do on the Xbox One, because the game is okay on PS4 performance-wise, and it's not as good on Xbox One, so, it's cool they got them on stage. The Division expansion is a thing. Next up, Battlefield 1, they showed that, definitely looks good. I'm not a Battlefield hater, it's just I'm not very into the multiplayer of it, but I thoroughly enjoyed the games I've played. I recently played through Battlefield 4, absolutely loved that game. Prior to that, I played Battlefield Hardline, loved the campaign on there, and this game looks so interesting to me, and they're going to have 64-player battles on consoles, so that looks like it'll be neat. Then they brought out the engineering team with this, and they said that they're going to be bringing more servers to the community. Hopefully that means more reliability, but we don't know. And they're going to be bringing out a few more things. They're going to be really pushing more cross-platform play. There's going to be background music coming 3 years after, that was a feature that the Xbox 360 had on launch, but okay. There's going to be more languages coming, which is great, so that's going to work for people worldwide. Cortana's going to be there, and there's also 3 other features coming in. There's going to be clubs, which is kind of a social network type thing. Okay. Looking for groups, which is just like, hey, I want to play this game. Okay. And Arena, which is a tournament platform, which I think would be cool. I'm not a tournament person, but, it'll be cool, I guess, for anybody who's into that. Next up, Minecraft. They had that going on, and they spent almost too much time on this, I felt like, but they were really pushing, the cross-platform and everything, which I thought the technology behind that was cool. They were showing the VR on that, and I actually texted one of my friends about that, too, because she's a really big Minecraft player, and I'm like, hey, look what they did on Minecraft. There's also going to be new wireless controllers coming out, and really, all they do, it looks like they're just trying to go after the Scuff audience, and from what I've seen, all you can do is really just change the color on everything and put your name on it. Those are the only things I've seen. Now, one of the games I am legitimately excited for is Inside. This is from the people that created Limbo, and it just looked so deliciously dark and mundane. And I love that. I definitely want to play that, just from the little bit I saw of it. They started going into indies and all that, and if you're an Ark Survival Evolved person, if you have it on Xbox One, you're going to get the Windows 10 version here. Probably my favorite game of the event, honestly, was We Happy Few. It looks kind of like a paler version of BioShock Infinite that might even be darker in a way, because it looks like it's a mega struggle between psychiatric issues and drug addiction. This is the one game that it's going to be a timed exclusive. It's going to come out on Xbox One consoles first, and then it's going to come out on Windows PC later. But my god, I definitely want to play this game, and it's going to be going into game preview July 26th, so that is the one game I'm most excited for out of all the games they showed. So then afterwards, they went on to Gwent. Like, if you're really into card games, if you enjoyed that in Witcher 3, that's going to be a standalone game. Tekken 7, at first I thought that was pretty cool, but then I remember that, Tekken 6 was on the Xbox 360, so not that much of a surprise. You get a free copy of Tekken Tag Tournament 2, though, if you get it this week for the Xbox 360. Dead Rising 4 looks pretty great. Frank West is back. It's coming out this year, holiday season, and one thing I thought was pretty cool, it started snowing, like fake snow obviously, but snow in the auditorium. I thought that was pretty neat. Scalebound, we got to see that, and I might piss off some people when I say this, but just listen, right? I'm going to be very specific. This game looks boring to me. Now, take that and just think about it. It looks boring. I don't think it's going to be a bad game. I think I'll probably have fun playing it, but I got so bored watching this. It just looks like one of those games, to me, I would not be able to watch, and I couldn't get that excited about it. But overall, It looks good. I bet it will be a fun game, like more fun to play than watch. And the music was pretty kick-ass on that. Sea of Thieves, that was shown afterwards too. And my God, to show the gameplay, right? They decided to bring in people who'd never played it before, and they filmed their reactions. And I cringed when I watched this because it just looked like they were trying to go after that YouTube type audience, and it was. No, I don't need the face cams and reactions when I'm seeing E3 reveals. I really don't need that. A few other games they showed off were Decay 2. That looks like it's going to be a great game. I've actually never played the first one, but I heard incredible things about it, and that's actually one of those games a lot of people I know pirated it and then liked it so much that they bought it. Like, everyone I know actually that pirated the game ended up buying it, so that was a shocking turn of events. Halo Wars 2. It was a CGI trailer, did nothing for me, but then they showed some gameplay. Gameplay was pretty fast-paced and a lot of cuts, didn't really do much for me, but they did say that it is going to be an open beta this week. And what I think is cool is that they are putting it on PC, which I think is great, because I don't know why anyone would play an RTS with a controller. Yes, Halo Wars was not bad with a controller, but it's still an RTS game with a controller, mind you. Afterwards, they decided to bring Phil back, and I thought this was pretty cool because they brought Phil Spencer on. He was wearing this like old, faded, crusty original Xbox shirt. Now that made me smile, and that's when they went into the whole Project Scorpio thing, which I already talked about. But then they were finishing it off saying this is going to come out holiday 2017, and that the Xbox One, the Xbox One S, and the Xbox One Scorpio will all work together, and your games will work together on all the systems, all the accessories and all that will work. And it's like, that's cool. But I've seen this done before, namely with the new 3DS versus the old 3DS, and there's going to be games that are designed for more or less for the Scorpio mind, that just because they work, mind you, just because they work on the original Xbox One does not mean they will be good on the original Xbox One. So I gotta see what they're doing with that. Overall, I thought it was a good show, though. Microsoft did exactly what they needed to. Aside from the shakiness, honestly, I'm just kind of unsure about the consoles and all that. Aside from that, Microsoft did exactly what they had to. They went on stage, they showed game after game after game, and my God, I'm so happy I did not see any Call of Duty, and I did not see any EA Sports games on there. So, little golf clap for you all on that, because man, those were always the most boring segments of these. But honestly, most of the time, Microsoft puts on a pretty damn good show. I will say that. Their games might not be the best, but they put on a pretty good show. And overall, I think the game lineup here is pretty solid. Now, I'm not saying this is one of the best E3s ever, but I thought the game lineup was pretty good. So with that, let me know what you all thought of this, because I'd like to know your overarching thoughts on it as well, too. And if you enjoyed the video, hey, you know what? Show some love down below. And if you didn't, you can also show some hate down below as well. But anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone.